Baker absolutely has, and it's crazy. I'm not going to say I've done a 180 on Baker Mayfield, but I'll be honest, I've definitely done about a 160, 165. Look, fellas, I was drafted to the Cleveland Browns. I understand just how difficult it is to live there as a young adult who's coming from a college town where you are the man. I understand just how difficult it may be to excel there in a city in foreign territory, lake effect, snow, lake effect, everything. It's tough. Not only is Baker Mayfield doing that, but he has the Browns thriving at 9-3. Fellas, if you were to go to Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the Cleveland Browns, and before the season say this, hey, I promise you will be 9-3, but you got to extend Baker Mayfield. You think he would take that deal? He absolutely would take that deal, and every Browns fan before the season would have been ecstatic to take that deal. Baker Mayfield's earned it. Let's call a spade a spade. We understand that to succeed in Cleveland is obviously more difficult than it is to succeed anywhere else. Otherwise, we would see more success in Cleveland. Baker Mayfield has done it. Kudos to him. He deserves to be paid.
I don't think he deserves to be paid a long-term deal because by their actions and even their words earlier this season, he hasn't even earned a short-term deal. He hasn't even earned the fifth-year extension yet. But now we're talking long-term. After one half of tremendous football? Like, I didn't hear all this conversation just a week ago. I didn't hear this a month ago. But now I'm hearing this all the time in 1 week. And it's crazy because they were on a 4-game win streak earlier this year, and now they find themselves again on a 4-game winning streak. So it's starting to pick up steam in terms of the Baker Mayfield conversation. And no one knows how this 4-game winning streak is going to continue or end. They play the Baltimore Ravens on Monday. We'll see. But how did the last one end when people were starting to talk that talk and pick up the steam of Baker Mayfield? Smack! That's what happened to them. They played the Pittsburgh Steelers and lost 7-38. So in this situation, I wonder where the conversation will go, Acho, if all of a sudden he gets smacked by the Baltimore Ravens or something else going down the line, which makes you go back to where you thought Baker Mayfield was for most of this season. Inconsistent. As simple as that. So, no, he hasn't earned a long-term deal because no one's even been on record talking long-term. Matter of fact, they haven't even been on record yet talking short-term deal for Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I think it's a wait-and-see situation when it comes to Baker Mayfield. This is a team that has been winning. They've been winning because of their running game and the defense. They play a certain style. While I would love to have continuity at the quarterback spot, I just don't know how we can quantify how much Baker Mayfield deserves. Now, if he comes to the office and he says, hey, I want to be here long-term and I'm willing to take maybe a Jimmy G deal or Derek Carr deal, something that is below market value, absolutely sign him up because he's the complementary piece to what we're doing offensively. But if he's looking for one of these deals that put him up there in that Deshaun Watson, Pat Mahomes category, no, Baker Mayfield. You're going to have to go back and prove it not only this year, but you're going to have to prove it next year because we're going to be a little more frugal when it comes to our expenditure at the quarterback position because we need to make sure that you can carry it as a truck and you're not just hitching a ride as a trailer when it comes to this offensive movement.
Hey, I respect that, Bucky. It's one thing, I haven't stolen much from you, but I love the take of, are you a truck or are you a trailer? I am very fond of that take. But I think, Bucky, we have to admit this year, we got to stop underestimating trailers. When you say trailer, that means the team is pulling you. When you say truck, that means you were pulling the team. I'm just explaining for the people who haven't heard you make that take before. Think about this, Bucky Brooks. Cam Newton, he's lost the Patriots 4 to 5 games this year. Carson Wentz, he's lost the Eagles 3 to 5 games this year. We have to start to realize in football, not only do we like when you win games, but please also let's start to give some credence to not losing games as well. We are seeing with our very own eyes more than ever quarterbacks losing games this year. So if Baker Mayfield is not losing games and the Browns are winning games, I'm going to applaud Baker for that. It's not that I'm lowering the bar. What I'm doing is more accurately assessing the quarterback position in this day and age. Think about this, Bucky. You can make a real argument that Baker Mayfield has been the most impressive quarterback this year. What do I mean by that? We've seen Aaron Rodgers go crazy before. We've seen Patrick Mahomes go crazy before. We've seen Chiefs quarterbacks go crazy before. We've seen Packers quarterbacks go crazy before. We've seen a quarterback in Tampa Bay put up 5,000 yards just last year. We've seen Tom Brady ball this year. But what have we not seen? A Browns quarterback ball. Baker Mayfield, can we throw up this full screen, please? Because I was astounded when I saw this. Baker Mayfield, if I'm not mistaken, has a top 5 passer rating in Browns history. He has the number 2 passer rating in Browns history. Like, that's I'm just saying, say what you will. But here's my point. Kill the full screen, because let me talk to Bucky again. I used to think what you thought, Bucky. But remember, where does Baker Mayfield play? We give credence to Phil Dawson, one of the greatest kickers in NFL history, not just because he was a great kicker, because he had to kick in Cleveland outside in those elements. You know, Bucky Brooks, Drew Brees is not the same inside that dome as he is outside in the elements. So is Baker Mayfield's passer rating below 90? Sure. But Baker Mayfield is also doing it in a place that's harder to do it in. Just go back and watch that Browns-Raiders game. I believe that was in Cleveland and other games this season. All I'm saying is, you got to grade Baker Mayfield on a curve. I've realized that. I think you need to as well.
Hell no, boy. I wish I was graded on the curve. And then I look back as an adult, and I'm so glad I wasn't. I'm glad there was a standardized testing to make sure that people didn't judge me just based on my locale or the school I went to. It's crazy you having this conversation. Grade them on the curve. Oh, so you could be the smart kid at the bad school, and then you're going to think you're smarter than you really are. Well, Baker Mayfield, welcome to the NFL, big dog. Well, we're going to grade y'all all the same. That's why we have statistics out here. We're not going to let you get, oh, well, I went to the worst program. I was a Cleveland Brown. Look how smart I am. I got an A in Cleveland. Yeah, that's about a C- everywhere else, dummy. So here's the situation if you look at it. Strictly looking at comps. I'm not going to go on this curve. I'm not riding the wave. I'm not looking at him different because his jersey's different or his organization is different. I'm going to talk about someone who was a former number 2 pick, who had a season like this Baker Mayfield's having on his resume, maybe even better. In his second year, his team won the NFC North with a 12-4 record. That season, he had a 6-touchdown game, lit it up, made the Pro Bowl. And his team, the Bears, said no thanks to your 5th-year option and number 2 overall pick, Mitch Trubisky. Now, you can look at Mr. Trubisky after that second year and say, yeah, he's been in decline despite putting up winning quarterback record numbers, but still in decline in terms of his production, in terms of his performance. Are you really going to risk that to give Baker Mayfield a long-term deal and potentially put him in a Mitch Trubisky situation? I don't know. That's a scary comp for me. Hey, I'm going to ride this out. Baker Mayfield, give me consistency, consistent excellence. Then we'll talk long-term.
Let me put this in real life for you. I am, because I'm going to put this in real life for you. In high school, I went to a school called St. Mark's School of Texas, number 1 private school in Texas, number 8 in the nation. True story. I was the dumbest kid in my class. Dumbest kid in my class. I had a 2.8 my freshman year. I finished out with a cumulative 3.2. We had kids composing music at the age of 16. There was the National Spelling Bee winner was in the grade above me in my school. True story. Dumbest kid in my class. I get to college, and all of a sudden, I'm like the smartest person there. Why, Marcellus? Because I was being judged differently. So by the time I actually was being judged as I should have been, being assessed as I should have been assessed, all of a sudden, I thrived, I found success, and I would say my life turned out pretty well. But if you judge me like y'all are trying to judge Baker Mayfield and not counter and calculate all the other external forces, then you will also live your life believing Baker Mayfield is actually worse than he truly is. I need y'all to start to realize, wait a second, this dude Baker Mayfield is doing something that has literally not been done in Cleveland since 1994. Dude has them on pace to win 11 games. Fellas, open up your eyes and see Baker is balling and deserves some bread.
You know,
I just know you wouldn't have gotten to Carolina with those words. You wouldn't have gotten to Carolina. That 2.8, that 2.8, that 3.2. Yeah, you'd have to go somewhere else.
Hey, Bucky, let him know, man. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of all he's accomplished. But being real, you ain't the smartest one in this 3-box or the second smartest. You couldn't even get into Carolina. You weren't that smart. I'll tell you, went to Texas, damn it.
IQ test on the show on Monday. I want us to take an IQ test live.
Let's go. Coming up in our big story, Cam Newton did not look good at all in last night's loss. We'll tell you if his days as a franchise QB are